Monday night, it's RaceSpotTV, and we are back once again with Monday Night Skippies. Rachel Whiteford, Linus Brostrom, Hugo Louise, twiddling the dials on the cameras, and we are here at the circuit to end all circuits. Mount Panorama Bathurst is a monster of a racetrack, and there are drivers here tonight who will be trying to tame that very monster. And well, with a championship on the line and some big points to play with at a very deadly track, Linus, we've got over 50 drivers here trying to tame the mountain.
We do, and Bill Fraser is at the top of the standings, as you can see. Quite a big gap down to Fahim Antonides, but one little mistake from Fraser. This thing will be wide open. And Fahim is on top in the qualifying now as well, yeah, by 1/1000th of a second. Literally,
as you said it, Antonides took the first spot in qualifying. Bill Fraser jumped up to second, then third as Simon Edwards just split the difference. They are, though, 3/100ths of a second apart between the three of them. So this is going to be exciting. And Tom Ward, of course, you all remember the controversy last week, the excitement of watching Antonides and Ward try to take on Bill Fraser as a team. Of course, Tom Ward's debut with Thrustmaster Bavano Racing alongside Fahim Antonides was a spicy one. So that tag team matchup, of course, is going to be interesting to see how they play with Edwards and Fraser, two possibly unlikely bedfellows who are going to have to work together to try and take on the massive team. Well, we're here for 10 laps tonight, and the weather so far is looking pretty favourable. 74 degrees Fahrenheit with a track temperature of 101. Late afternoon, of course, with a 6 mile an hour, I should say, wind from the north. Humidity's low, which means for good grippy conditions here, Linus, and Bathurst plus grip, probably the best situation they could hope for.
Well, you don't want to go around here in the wet or in very low grip, because then you're not going to be able to race at all, I don't think. And these walls, they're very, very close to the track, pretty much all the way around the track, and you got to be on the edge of your game the whole way around. One little mistake can cause a big traffic jam, and that can ruin the day for a lot of people.
Certainly can. And wow, the race tonight is going to be exciting. We did say 10 laps around this place, which will take long enough, of course. We're looking at 2 minutes 30 for a lap here. A 1 second bracket, as we're seeing it, would be a 32.4. And that crops up fairly quickly. That would be in roughly the region of 11th place tonight, Adrian Hendy. So, going to be a lot of excitement tonight. The field is fairly spread out in terms of its speed, all the way down to 7 seconds, I should say, adrift of your leader with 44th place, Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, on a 38.3. So, there's a fairly big spread here, which is typical for what we see at Bathurst, Linus, but what we're really looking for here is what's going to happen with that top four, because it's going to be explosive. Claire Hughes looked fast in practice, but he's going to sit outside that top four group there and watch the fireworks we expect. This will be different. Really different.
It will, and that will be a massive draft as well, coming down off the mountain, down towards the end of the lap, every single time, just like we saw last week, and it'll be interesting to see how they play it out now, but let's go.
Indeed, well, with the following distances here at Bathurst, overheated engines is a possibility, and with the qualifying ending, we'll take you to your starting grid. Fahim Antonides takes pole tonight with a time of 2 minutes 31.437. Simon Edwards in second place, with Bill Fraser in third. Tom Ward in fourth, with Claire Hughes in fifth. Jack Hobbs in sixth place with Nick Sigley, Andrew Leach, Sarah Savage, and Matt Cox rounding out your top 10 with Adrian Hendy, Darrell Taylor, Chris Malcolm, Dave Martin, Clark Williams in 15th place, way back from where he normally is, Paul Thurston in 16th place, Daniel Cook, Anthony Catt, Anthony Jones, and Kieran O'Flynn in the 20th position. Linus, these guys are going to be starting at the very back of the field, all the way down the Armorall Bridge. Nearly 2 full corners back from the start. Of course, we've got Hell Corner at the beginning of this lap for these guys at the front, and they've got the massive, massive mountain straightaway ahead of them. Then they have to climb and keep climbing.
Yeah, they do. That's going to be a very steep climb, and in these cars, they aren't that powerful. It takes, you know, getting a good run off the corners is very, very important in these cars. If you don't get a good run, you can end up losing quite a lot of positions. So, nailing your lines and braking points and all that is key to winning here today, I would say.
It absolutely is, and I can't wait to see exactly what will happen in this, because tonight we're going to see a phenomenal race. Round number 11 here of Monday Night Skippy is getting ready to kick off in just a few seconds' time. The engines getting themselves revved up for this one as we're going to get ready to go racing. Green flag flies. We're racing here at Bathurst. good start by the top group as expected. I don't know why I always say that, but they did a good job. Unlike sometimes, of course, a little bit slower there for Edwards as Bill Fraser gets right up behind him through Hell Corner they go. No one with a particular advantage just yet. Anthony does clear out front though because that's a slightly sloppy start from Edwards. Although it was only really sloppy at the entry to the corner. The entire field there filtering through Hell Corner. We're going to crash right towards the rear here. Trying to work out who was involved in that one, Linus, if you could take a quick look for us and find out. But a little bit of a bop at the back of your field as everyone filters through up towards turn number 3 here, climbing up into the mountain. And Fraser right at the back of Edwards. He knows he needs to get out front fairly soon to try and keep himself away from the likes of Tom Ward.
He really does, and that was Rob Marshall who went around the exit of the first corner. He had to check up and got a little bit hit from behind, but onto your leaders. It's still Fahim out front. Simon Edwards is really trying all he can, but he's got Bill Fraser all over the back of him, so this is favouring Fahim at the moment. He's got a tiny little bit of gap, but that will close up pretty quick, I would assume.
Well, we know it's hard to pass for second backwards in this race as the draft doesn't really work in a long Conga or Skippy cars. They haven't got the individual power. But passing on the mountain is a brave and risky opportunity. It can be taken at select moments, but you've got to be so careful, even in these tiny cars. As it looks like Tom Ward also looking for an opening. He just can't quite seem to quantify at the moment. Down across the skyline through the dipper. They'll come on the big steep descent now down the mountain in the big braking zone in just a second for Forest Elbow. Here at the bottom, the Falcon bannered corner. Everyone filtering through, needed a great run out of that corner. We'll see what Anthony has got for himself here. A decent gap, but will likely get caught up here by Edwards in the train behind him. Not really close enough for Edwards to get involved, so it might well be this one stays clean for Fahim at the moment. Yep, Edwards not even getting any closer whatsoever, although getting a bit of a run here now towards the kink just up ahead of him. He'll go for the outside. At the moment, he'll be inside for the kink as here comes Fraser. Looks to the outside. Will he dive it up the inside here? I think it might be a move by Bill Fraser. Gets himself alongside Fahim there, side by side. Held out though by Tom Ward, and Ward will get through. Clear will get hit through as well. Brave but silly move there, Linus, for Bill Fraser. He kind of jumped when he didn't need to just yet. Kind of panicking to get ahead of Fahim and control this race.
Yeah, he really wanted to get up front as soon as possible, and I mean, I can't blame him for trying, because you have to. I mean, they're race car drivers, but it would have been a bit smarter to just back out and try and go single file for a little bit and stay in second, possibly in third. So you'll see what he can do not to recover. He managed to stay ahead of Leo Hughes though, so he's still in 4th place. That's a bit of a gap now up to the top 3 as Leo Hughes moves out of line here to try and get him moved, but he's not going to have any draft whatsoever, so Fraser will stay 4th for now.
Yeah, drafting at the mountain straightaway, not usually a practical one though, as Anthony Diaz does get a good run there on Edwards, and it's almost 3 wide with Tom Ward as the Movano mugging starts to happen on Simon Edwards there, as this is going to slow him down and bring Bill Fraser into the action as, oh wow, a lot of speed lost there for Anthony Diaz, which really shoves him out of this race as he had to get off the gas to stay out of the wall there, and the wall's ever present at Bathurst. Bill Fraser goes shooting past Anthony Diaz up through the cutting here, as it's Edwards, followed by Ward, followed now by Bill Fraser. And Fahim Anthony Diaz clear Hughes, your top 5. So mistakes are happening already. People are overcooking these in the effort they're putting in here, Linus, to try and get these valuable points with his championship so close to line. But Tom Ward, right up the gearbox of Simon Edwards. He's not racing for points, he just wants glory. Is he going to be in a position where he kind of screws his teammate out of this one? We heard for him last time, there's no team orders in Movano. Does that mean Tom Ward might cost his teammate the championship?
Well, I don't think he'd do anything to cost him the championship as such, but I mean, if he can get the win here, he's definitely going to do it, and Fahim will have to do all the racing to get 2nd place then by himself, so it'd be interesting to see how he can handle that. But Ward's certainly not backing out too much out of this. He really wants it, and he lost a bit of time there though going onto the straight, but like we saw last time, coming to the 2nd part of the straight, he's just going to suck up to the back of Simon Edwards, and probably going to have Tom Ward leading by the end of this now. Absolutely,
it's like a meteoric sudden sling forwards as you get towards the kink. The drivers just get the draft there, as Tom Ward does. Fraser does as well.
Ooh,
goes to look for the outside. He's on the grass, around the kink, 3 wide to the kink. You can't do that. What is this? This is insanity. Are we watching motorbike racing? Oh, past Edwards, gets Bill Fraser there. Just tries to close the door, can't quite do it. Manages to finally shut that door after Oh my gosh, that was insanity. I've never seen a racing move like that. Nobody goes 3 wide at the kink at Bathurst. This is going to be an amazing race. It's just giving me that vibe here on lap number 2 as Antonides goes to make a move on his teammate Tom Ward.
He does, but Ward stays in the lead, and well, Antonides 4th up to 2nd by that move, so that was a pretty good job by him. So he's right back up there again. Now he might be able to get the draft up the hill here, but
so the 44 though, Barry West, who's unfortunately has slipped on a banana. We'll try to get a replay for you of what happened for the Team Epicure banana driver of West, who's been having a great season so far, and it was a massive crash there in the Dipper where there was a car turned around, 2 cars turned around in fact ahead of him.
That's a massive pile-up actually.
Yeah, big pile-up there, also involving, I believe that one is also going to be the driver of Riley. I think Bird might have been involved, and possibly Plumley too, so we'll find out what happened there. But back to your race leaders after a bit of banana peeling happened, and it's going to be Antonides out front with Tom Ward, Edwards, Fraser and Claire Hughes.
It is, and they're nose to tail here. I mean, one little bad move here and we could have another one of those pile-ups, but Ward staying in, no, actually in 2nd place, sorry, Fahim up in the lead, and Edwards is trying to get back up to the front now. Fraser's dropped back to 4th, like you said. Hughes is just sitting back there in 5th place, waiting for mistakes to happen. It doesn't look like he wants to get all too involved here as they're coming down the hill again, see what can happen going onto the straight.
Mistakes happening here is almost a guarantee, so Clay Hughes making a sensible decision there with Hobbs, Sigley also following just behind them. Leach, Savage and Cox also right up in that top group with Adrian Henley there, so there's a lot of time. In fact, 12th place is also involved in this conga, so anybody makes a mistake here, they're going to be in serious trouble. I want to see what they go for in this run up here, because the 3 wide to the kink is just never done at Bathurst. No one is that insane. But apparently these guys are just that crackers that you go 3 wide to the kink, which I'm still bowled over by, folks, a lap later. Are we going to see it again as Edwards goes to go outside of Tom Ward? Yeah, let's just throw some 3 wide in there yet again as they just about squeeze through. Looks like Bill Fraser won't be invited to this party as they head now through the final section of the lap. Edwards out front. Tom Ward and his teammate Antonides side by side. The racing between those 2 teammates might well cost them the points they need, as Fraser still very much in his conversation. Hughes keeping a bit of a respectful distance behind them. I think that's a good call there. Don't get involved and you could clean up what they throw down. But Edwards, it looks to be definitely the thorn in the side of Movano at the moment.
Yes, and these 4 guys have been swapping back and forth all the race long, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to play out actually. It could go anyone's way at the minute. And it looks like Bill Fraser actually pulling out a line again like he did on the straightaway. Maybe he's gotten his senses back and is laying out, but here comes Tom Ward to take the lead back from Edwards. Yeah,
Edwards going to be stripped out here by Tom Ward, as Bill Fraser's been cooling his car, I think, is the one thing he's doing the others are not doing in that front group, is he is getting out into clean air early on when it's not mattering, and he's cooling the air down. Big problems for Tom Ward, hits the outside barrier there. We'll replay what happened for Tom Ward just a moment ago, but he's going to be out of this race now, as like Antonides did the lap before, where he had to get out of the gas massively, Linus, and slow down to avoid it. He runs wide into the corner outside of a car, only he doesn't get out, and he hits the outside barrier and he's bouncing along. You're lucky he didn't bounce back into the lane, but Tom Ward, heavy damage out of this race, which could now be the lack of support for Antonides that Fraser needs to succeed here, as now Fraser and Edwards outnumber for him Antonides, but we saw that you can't enter that corner too wide. Antonides did it. He had to back out off the gas and almost brake to avoid that wall. Tom Ward YOLO'd it, and look what happened.
Yeah, it's a tough corner to be on the outside of, and you really gotta get off the throttle in time if you're gonna make it. And also, big well done to Tom Ward for keeping it in the wall. They're not going back there. It actually looks like he turned to the left to keep it on the wall actually, because that could have been massive. So thank you and well done to him.
Yeah, very sporty move by Tom Ward, as Simon Edwards going to be victim this time to Antonides and probably Fraser. That's how close he is, as Claire Hughes sits out and takes some air himself. But we're seeing sensible racing there from the likes of Claire and Fraser, as here comes Fahim. Big run now for Bill Fraser. He's also going to go for the move, as he's going to probably try and slot through. He'll stay here with Fahim as Edwards holds the outside line, but gets cut off there by Bill Fraser, not looking for the dive now. Here they come through that very tight, big braking zone for the left-hander, right-hander under the Armor Bridge now as, oh, Edwards went off the track there, recovers it onto the racing surface, but drops himself back into that third spot still. Antonides will lead from Bill Fraser at the moment. Looking back at your field, we've got a couple of drivers out. Leach has had an issue as well, and so has Daryl Taylor. We'll have a look what has happened to Andrew Leach. He was on the last lap, from what we believe, and Andrew Leach has gone off on Conrad. So he went off on his own. Solo incident, nothing particularly exciting there, but the car just kind of drifted off the track. So he's had a contact further up the lap, I think, and had some problems. Quite a few drivers dropping out of the field here. Anthony Catt, normally a front runner, down here in 15th place, chasing Michael Taylor in that 36 car up ahead of him. Just behind him, Daniel Cook there involved as well. That'll be 14th, 15th to the 16th places. So the battling strong throughout this field. Race organizer Alan Patterson a bit further back on his own in 18th place, nothing particularly going on for him. A lot of cars singled out here and not particularly running in particularly big groups at the moment. Had issues from quite a few drivers so far, whether it be individual moments or group, should we say, collateral. We're seeing some big names out already, likes of Fairbanks has been retired, I believe, from this thing, but Chris Morris, Plumley, Maltby, Blake Hood, all of those drivers suffering from problems on the racetrack. This is just filtering through the drivers. We do have Thurston in 16th, from Grid in 16th, he's running in 21st. He's having a terrible day so far. Racing there with Tony Stack and Dave Kirkman. But looking towards the front of this pack, over Skyline they'll come again. It's that top 6 cars we're seeing right now, all the way down to Nick Sigley there, Linus, as it's Bill Fraser out front of Edwards, out front of Antonides. Antonides really in a pocket there, held back in 3rd place, but we see how much draft there is on this lap. It's absolutely insane. You can normally never get 2 cars. 1 car past, yes. 2, 3. This is getting crazy.
Yeah, but I think the problem is as well, these cars, they run out of speed when the cars behind start sucking up. That's when the front car has hit his speed limit, so he can't really go any faster, and everyone else, they get less air, so they just go flying right on past us. We see here Edwards, he actually moves to the left side this time, as Fraser's going to hold the inside. And here
big dive!
Fahim as well to the inside, and it's going to be 2 spots lost for Fraser.
Thought they were about to 3 wide into the braking zone there, but Fraser respectfully holds his ground. Gives him room there as Antonides had a bit of a moment as Edwards ran wide up the inside, will cut. Antonides there, that was 2 by 2. Claire Hughes keeping his options open at the moment. Fraser solidly holds that 3rd spot, watching the 2 ahead of him side by side. This will cost Antonides running so wide as Bill Fraser gets up alongside him, and we're going to go 3 wide across the line here into Hell Corner to start lap number 6, and it was 3 wide there for him across the line as this race is really, really hotted up at the moment. Edwards side by side with Antonides. This has costed him so much speed for both of them. Bill Fraser should just shoot past these guys if he gets the opportunity. 3 wide yet again here, up mountain straightaway. This is a huge bottleneck. Look how close the top group is here as Edwards and Antonides super, super close there. Who backs out? That's the question. 2 wide through this turn number 2 up here is not viable. Who will back out for this? There's contact there between them twice. Edwards and Antonides, contact between the wheels. Edwards will push wide this time by. Holds his car together though, and actually holds that momentum around the outside, carries the speed, keeps it tight, much better than the Movano cars managed so far. Fraser pulls through to 2nd place past Antonides, locks that spot in there for cutting. Up they'll come now. This is an absolute dogfight. You don't normally see this amount of passing as the top 6 still very gelled together and moving as fast as they can. Absolutely impressive racing at the moment from all of these drivers on the racetrack. As a look back though at the likes of Taylor, who unfortunately has dropped out of that battle with the others because I think we had a crash. And I'm just looking quickly now. Anthony Cat got past him. He's now fighting Anthony Jones in the 11 car up ahead of him, so he's making his way forwards in this field. 18th to 14th right now. Some of our big movers include Chris Bassett, 30th to 17th, 25th to 18th for Alan Patterson. And I believe we've also got 40 to 23rd for Peter Parnell. Big move for him. In our top 10 biggest movers, Clark Williams, 15th to 8th. That's where we expected he would get to, Linus. Moving further up than he really should have been qualifying, because this qualifying was terrible. Clark Williams has always had speed in the series, but here we go on to the Conrad Straight. Very aptly named because it typically destroys them. It's Edwards, Fraser, Antonides, and an early dive by Fraser.
It is once again, and there's nothing Edwards can do, and here comes Antonides up the middle. Is he going to clear him even before the breaking point? He almost is.
Yeah, it goes
He's
wide,
actually going to clear him even before the kink.
That's huge. Antonides up to the first spot now, as they'll come through and under the Armour All Bridge now. Oh, phenomenal racing from this top group here. Edwards looking to the inside, cleaning his own air. Not really seeing Antonides do that. Whenever he's following people, he's never once cleared out the air from his intake. So as Bill Fraser went to the grass, has lost him speed. Edwards goes to the inside now. He'll take that spot from him as they get across the start point into Hell Corner. Edwards will have that position. Fraser's just going to casually turn in a little bit later, but he carries better momentum than a tighter entry for Edwards. Bit of a wheel bump. Get out of my way. Clears him. Edwards gets back in line to just close the door and clear Hughes there. And will ride for now. Fahim Antonides back at the top of the scoring pylon, but how long that will last is anybody's guess. As the inside looks the car of Simon Edwards. Is Bill Fraser going to risk holding it to the outside now for turn number 2? He'll climb up that mountain. Pedigree chum bannering on the corner. Ever-present remembrance. This is Bathurst. Those dog food and race cars go so well together.
It does, at least in some cases. Still side by side up the hill though. Edwards on the outside, Fraser on the inside, and he is going to clear him this time. The Hughes coming right up the back of Edwards, and there's 7 cars now still in the top here. Hobbs in 5th, Sigley 6th, and Sarah Savage holding on back there in 7th. So still anyone's game, and it'd be really cool to see Sarah actually winning this if she could pull something out of the hat towards the end.
Absolutely could. That would be very interesting to see if that can become a factor in this race later on, as we've had some very daring moments from the top drivers, so I expect it will definitely boil over at some point in the near future. Antonides, Fraser, Edwards, Claire Hughes, Hobbs, Sigley, Savage, Williams. Cox is in 9th place with Dave Martin in 10th place from 14th. Here we go, through Forest Elbow yet again. Will we see more ridiculous formations heading down through the Conrad Straight and towards the kink as the drivers get a great start again, but a big gap to Fahim, which means by the time they catch him late in the corner, Linus, I think this big gap's actually a benefit and a more sensible option. Wait to catch them, as Fahim there is snaking to try and break that draft. Nearly contact with Fraser Edwards there, as catching them later means the speed game will be faster and more succinct to the end, but they're side by side.
Pretty much sharing the draft back there, and they're not actually going to catch him before the turn. Edwards is going to back out though. Let Fraser have the second spot, and Fraser gets a little bit sideways off the corner, so that's going to back them off Fahim again. Edwards is right up underneath the rear wing of Fraser though, and he's looking to the inside, but he's going to back out and they're going to stay single file, and Fraser closes right up to Fahim again somehow. Clark Williams, I believe it is, back in 8th place. He's actually closing in on these guys now, so if they keep battling, he might become a factor on the last lap.
Absolutely, definitely is, as I used way too many adjectives in that sentence for the moment, as Claire Hughes still holding, still kind of circling the carcass at the moment in 4th place. He's been the Clark Williams of this event, Linus, so far. That's normally Clark's job, to be the one loitering just outside the top battle. But it's a sensible place to be in. It's one where you don't have to get involved, and there's a very good chance you'll gain spots with minimal effort. It's a very sensible racist move. He has, indeed. He's gained that one spot from Tom Ward, of course, after his crash. But here we are, Antonides and Fraser heading up now towards the cutting. And Fraser looking feisty still. Lap number 8. 2 laps remaining after this one, which means not a lot of racing opportunity left, and Bill needs to try and secure that spot.
He does, but then again, just like last week, do you want to be the leader going on to that straightaway on the last lap? I don't think you do, unless you can have like a 2-second gap, and that's not going to happen. So I'm thinking maybe 3rd is the place to be actually here in about 2 laps time.
Certainly is, but Fahim Antonides must not be feeling very confident out front at the moment, because he knows he's going to be the victim this time by. They're much closer, which means there's a much better chance of the drivers holding on to him here and managing to make this a big passing opportunity yet again. And he knows more than one driver, maybe 2 drivers get past. He's in serious problems, because passing 1 possible if they stay in decent range. Passing 2 is going to be really
Savage lost it behind, but she saves it.
Big save there by Sarah Savage. We're going to replay that, because big over braking into the Forest Elbow corner, went in too tight, slid the car, massive smoke cloud there as she braked hard, drifted around the corner, just about held it. This is not the mountains of Japan. This is Bathurst, not that kind of racing. Edwards up alongside Bill Fraser here, going to look for the move on Antonides as well. Bill Fraser just sitting back and relaxing. Antonides to the inside, cuts in front of him with the break. That was a very dangerous move there by Antonides, who just slammed in front of Bill Fraser and threw the anchors on, which is just invited getting punted, to be honest. I wouldn't have blamed Bill Fraser at all if he ran straight up his backside.
I don't know if he wants to do that though in this car, because it's so fragile. Maybe in a touring car or a NASCAR, but these cars, if you touch, your race could be pretty much over. So that was very well done by Fraser to avoid that, actually. And Hobbs has got him by the use behind these guys as well. Come out of turn number 1, Fahim is going to get a bit of a run on Edwards again up the hill, and he's possibly going to get the lead back here pretty early in the lap.
Certainly is, and what a race we're experiencing tonight. Once again, Edwards alongside Antonides here, heading into turn 2, and Antonides will not have the same gap on him as he runs very wide like his teammate Tom Ward, and has to slow down for the second time as he just got unevenly wide there. And we've got Hobbs ahead of Claire Hughes now into 4th place, but Antonides suffering the same fate he did last time, just running very wide and unable to quite control the car there. The others have had a better look of it, Linus, but it seems that the Movado cars just get wide and they get tight.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe they're pushing the braking point normally, and then when they come to the outside they don't really adapt. But I think Fahim was too experienced to make that sort of mistake twice, but thankfully he didn't have to back up as much this time, so still in 3rd place. But it's anyone's game at the moment, as Fraser is looking all over Edwards. He has to back it a little bit there though, stacks up the whole train of cars, and down the hill we go again.
We certainly do, and here we go. Edwards in the lead here ahead of Bill Fraser. Fahim Antonides in 3rd place with possibly scuffed tyres.
Car parked on the left side there.
We did. I think it was a lap down car getting the hell out of the way of the train approaching him at high speeds.
Facing the wrong way too.
Yeah, that could be awkward. Simon Edwards leading at the moment as Linus goes to work out who was deciding to enjoy the view earlier on in the lap there. As Fahim pulling into the draft there of Edwards. Edwards snaking as do the others. Bill Fraser pushing as hard as he can here, but not going to be as close perhaps as before. He gets a big draft there on Edwards. But here comes Antonides from behind. He's keeping himself moved over to block Antonides. The first time we've not seen a pass down the Conrad straight here, and right now, a car slides off right in front of them. So, he tried, looked like he was going to rejoin there, Linus. That was a scary moment for me as I watched that black car. Yeah, Peter Parnell nearly...
He realised at the last second that the field was coming, and if he hadn't seen that, that could have been devastating.
Peter Parnell nearly pitted the pack, I think we could possibly say there, because he pulled right out in time to hit those cars, which would have been absolutely racing controversy. But Fraser at the back here of Edwards as they turn through Hull Corner now. On to the final lap here at Mount Panorama, Bathurst. We have one more time across the mountain for these drivers. No engines have blown up yet. Do we need to be worried? No cars have crashed off in a few laps. Do we need to be worried? These guys are all still in this race. Yes, we need to be worried, because this is about to be an exciting finish as everyone throws their chips in the basket. And here comes Jack Hobbs. If 3 wasn't enough, 4 seems to be the magic number in this case, because
and here comes Hughes.
Hughes up the inside there of Hobbs as Fraser holds around the outside there better than Fahim could last time by, holds 2nd place. So he's going to have a prime opportunity to really attack here on Simon Edwards. You've got to think Bill Fraser knows he has to get a great run through Forest Elbow here, get that early jump there on Edwards and try and fight off Antonides, because if he can lead through the cutting, through the kink, he has a real chance of finishing this race in front. And right now, just finishing ahead or just behind Fahim is enough to keep the points in his favour, but he has to finish this race, most importantly, heading into our final round of Sonoma.
Looking at Fahim's last couple of laps, it looks like he actually wants to be in 3rd, so I don't know if he thinks that that's going to be the place to be, but he's going to have to be really, really close to Fraser when they come down off the mountain and onto the straightaway, and he's a little bit too far back. They make contact.
Yeah, contact there with Fahim and Bill as they just about held on to that thing. I don't know how, but big gap open up to Edwards now, which might give that to Edwards, as it looks like Fahim outbraked himself into the dipper and just tapped the back there of Bill Fraser. Both of them getting a little bit squiffy, but the big gap here to Simon Edwards isn't enough. It's not a full second. It might still be plenty of time for Bill to get a huge run, but you were saying that Fahim wanted to be in 3rd. 3rd is great if you're in a tight pack of cars, Linus. If you're all grouped up together, 3rd is great. Second is perfect if they're separated out. As here comes Fahim to the outside, goes wide. Bill Fraser holds the inside. He's going to have to brake very, very late here, heading
to the outside.
Into contact with Edwards, as this could get very risky here. Fahim dives up the inside there. Nearly has contact with Edwards. Edwards does get some contact. He gets round the outside by Bill Fraser. He's got to brake super hard here to secure second, and he does need the points of second. That is absolute guarantee. Here comes Jack Hobbs up the outside there of Bill Fraser. Down on the brakes now. Can Bill hold this up the inside? Little bit of a rub there with the car. Simon Edwards, as Fahim Antonides will take that win after a last lap near crash. Simon Edwards in second place, Bill Fraser in third, Jack Hobbs in fourth with Claire Hughes in fifth. Wasn't an exciting final lap, but it was a terrifying corner and then 3 desperate corners, Linus.
Yeah, that was a little bit not quite the way I think they had planned it on going, but in the end it turned out well for Fahim anyway. And somehow he managed to get a huge run towards the end of that straight and just fly right past both of them.
I think Claire's confused because he's still racing, if we can get the camera onto him for a moment. Claire Hughes is still driving. I'm not sure if they count laps differently in Wales, but the race is over, Claire. You can go home now. Maybe he just wants to lead an extra lap and theoretically beat them all in his mind. Either way, let's go to your post-race results. Coming home with the win tonight, Fahim Antonides with a fantastic last lap pass there. Simon Edwards in second, and picking up the bronze will be Bill Fraser in third. We've got Jack Hobbs and Claire Hughes fourth and fifth, with Nick Sigley, Clark Williams, Sarah Savage, Adrian Hendy, and Matt Cox in 10th. Behind them, Dave Martin, Chris Malcolm, Anthony Catt, Daniel Cook in 14th, with Michael J. Taylor in 15th place. Chris Bassett, Simon Askew, Alan Patterson with the top 20 there in 18th place, Paul Thurston in 19th, Seymour Harding in 20th. Rest of the results up on your screen. Linus, we've got one more round after this, and right now, Bill's still leading by a decent amount. This is a really, really exciting end to the season.
It is, and we're going to Sonoma, very up and down track, big curbs. Well, it doesn't have any draft though, so that's going to be pretty much all down to the driver and what kind of setup you have in your car. So that's going to be a very, very good race, and Fahim is probably going to get there as well prepared as he possibly can to try and catch up to the championship leader. But he's going to have his work cut out for him, that's for sure.
Certainly is, and wow, we're going to have a moment before we get a chance to interview some drivers, so we're going to go to a quick commercial break. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with the best post-race show of RaceSpotTV. Yeah, that's ours on Monday nights. Join us in just a few moments and we'll have the post-race show and interviews with your favourite drivers. We'll talk to you then. Welcome back. It's the post-race show here on RaceSpotTV and Monday Night Skippers. And we've got a chance now to chat to Fahim Antonides, the winner tonight here at Bathurst. It wasn't your chance last week at Mossport for him, but What a final lap you just had. Leading the group, staying in that top group all race long, but that final lap. Contact with Bill Fraser there on that final run down the mountain at the Dipper. And then a last lap YOLO pass down at the Kink. Talk us through that last lap, please.
Yeah, well, you know, Bill and I Bill Simon and I have been, excuse me, I've got a flu, so I'll be coughing through this. Bill Simon and I were tussling through the, lap after lap, just trying to make sure that we don't sink too far back behind, because you can be in a situation where you drop to fourth and then all of a sudden you make a mistake and you lose the 2 or 3 guys ahead of you and you've lost the draft. So whilst you don't want to be racing each other hard, at the same time, you want to be racing each other enough that you're always within that top 3. But then after a while, I figured that the best place to be, because the draft is different now on these cars, it's not as powerful. On the last lap was going to be in third, because then you get the double toe, and it's a more powerful draft than the normal previous Skippy. So that's where I positioned myself. But before that, you're right. Going down the mountain, I don't know if I was overly keen to make sure that I'm within touching distance, or whether Bill slowed down. It seemed to me that he slowed down a little bit, and that caused us to have a little bit of contact. Now, I know he wobbled, I wobbled. I thought I was going to go into the wall, but luckily neither of us did. And it didn't really affect us that much, because we were, both Bill and I were well within Simon's draft range. So I don't think whether we had that contact or not, it would have made any difference to the end result for either of us.
Well, either way, it was a very exciting final run there for you, as the gap gets smaller between yourself and Bill. Do you think you have a chance next week at Sonoma to really change this thing?
Sonoma is not one of my best tracks, and I've got such a busy week this week, so I'm not sure how much practice I'm going to get. When you get to my age, you need the best part of a week to build up the muscle memory to tune into and dial into the track and the car. So who knows? Yeah, we'll give it the best shot we can to see what happens.
Well, congratulations tonight, and looking forward to seeing what happens next week for you, Fahim. Congratulations on winning today at Mount Panorama.
Rachel, question for you.
Oh, go on.
I sent you a PM. You probably get millions of PMs, so you probably didn't see it. But if you want someone to do in-car commentary during your broadcasts while the race is unfolding, I'd be happy to do that with you.
Don't you think you're a little busy, like trying to win?
Well,
or would you be up for trying it?
It's too easy for him.
Oh, there we go. It's too easy for Fahim. That's it.
I'm sure others will like to do that as well, because I think it would add an extra fun bit of dimension for both you guys, the viewers, and us, the drivers as well. So think about it. If you want to do that, let me know.
You know what? We'll trial that next season for you. How's that? When you're not in a major points fight where you could win the championship, we'll try it for the first couple of rounds. If you fancy having a go at it for him, we'll try and give the in-car driver commentary a crack.
Yeah, all right, let's try it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for joining us for him, Anthony Des. And now we have got Paul Thurston joining us tonight. Paul came home in the 19th spot, started 16th. Tough race. Bathurst, we already know, is not your favourite track.
Well, it was a bit more dramatic than that. I made a silly driving error in the final chicane on the first lap, I think it was. First or second lap. And just lost it. Went to the back of the field, so I was 46th. But then people started falling off in front of me. So I got away with that, and I just sort of worked my way up. I did get caught in one of the big crashes over the mountain. I got past the first few. I had to slow down. I was back with Robert Plumley and people like that. But it was bizarre. All these quick people, basically, right at the back of the field, and me. But then someone else went broadside across the track, and I just went slammed straight into them. They flew over the top of me. I lost my front wing, apparently. That didn't seem to affect me too much. And then someone else it crashed down on the straight, and they just came back across the track. There's absolutely nothing I could do, but I seemed to just sort of like warp straight through them. Whether it caused any damage, I don't know. I got incident points. I was fairly close to a disqualification today, but I didn't get disqualified. But so I just started to battle. I had a brilliant little battle with Dave Kirkman and a load other than Seymour and Tony Stack. I managed to get past them, so the front wing clearly wasn't slowing me down particularly. So I enjoyed that at the end. I mean, 19th from 46th is great. It sounds better than 19th from 16th.
It certainly does. Well, there you go. A fantastic run regardless, and surviving Bathurst usually is its own reward. So we'll leave you with that thought for tonight, as the mountain has claimed its fair share of cars both in this race and previous ones, and we look forward to celebrating more wrecked race cars at future Bathurst rounds. But you can join us same time next week for round number 12, and that will be at Sonoma, where we decide this championship and see whether Bill Fraser can hang on, or will Montanidez clutch it at the last second. I'm Richard White, I've been joined by Linus Prostrom, and of course, as always, Hugo Louise. Thanks for watching. Good night.